I had the infrared thermometer. Oh, thanks. I was wondering what that was. All right, everyone. I decided to do a little, we decided to do a little bit different test today, and I want to simulate something more like a hunting and camping situation where you're able to actually put the cooler in the shade. One, to keep the cooler and protect it from UV rays for long term. Now, since all the big name coolers recommend that you do like a pre-chill, I'm going to go ahead and have the cooler set in the house so it's room temperature. And I'll show a picture of the front of the cooler now, top of the lid, inside the top of the lid, and then the back wall. And then so I'm going to go ahead and put frozen water bottles inside it to pre-chill it and leave that in overnight, and then we're going to get those test results tomorrow. So let's go check it out. Alright, so now it's the next day, and we've had the frozen water bottles in the cooler overnight and most of the next day. It's evening time, it's about 5 or so, so we're going to start doing all of our testings about 5 p.m. And so here are the results of the top of the lid, inside of the top of the lid, and then the back wall. So now we're going to go ahead and set it in our test spot outside, and we're going to go ahead and fill it up with ice. Let's go check it out. Well, I guess while we're waiting on them, I'll explain, which we didn't before. The cooler is an Igloo IMX 70, which says it has up to 7 days of ice retention. Got some pretty cool features to it, but I guess we'll go over that later. You should be out here anytime now. Did you start without me? Yeah, I was just waiting on you. Okay, good. I guess this segment will be pretty quick. We're just going to show the temperatures of the cooler after, I guess, what, the first full day, 24 hours. And so here's the picture of the front of the cooler, the top of the cooler, back wall, and some ice retention. So it's pretty good so far. I guess we're going to go over these. We'll do that later. Alright, so we'll see you on the next segment. Okay guys, I am on my own today because my buddy couldn't make it. We are on day 4, unless we're counting the 24-hour period, and actually we're at 72 hours, so that would be 3 days since we put the ice in the cooler and put it in our test spot. To give you a reference point, we are halfway between Houston and Galveston, closer to Galveston, and it's been probably mid to upper 90s every day with, per my rain gauge, about 1/4 inch of rain in the past probably 3 or 4 weeks. So it's been pretty hot and completely dry. So instead of doing all the pictures and everything, I'm just going to show you on my infrared thermometer here what our readings are today. So let's check it out. Outside is 91.2. The lid is 94.8. And let's open it up and see what we got inside. Inside of the lid is 57.2. Back of the wall is 59.4, 56.3, and I cannot believe that's all the ice we've got left. So we may not be able to make it to the next day, guys. So let's close it up and get it set up. So I guess we'll go from here. We're done for the day, and we're gonna check it out tomorrow. So we'll talk to you then. Okay, welcome back, guys. We're at the 91-hour mark, which is, you know, if we're following the 24-hour period, it's 3.5 days. And I wanted to do a midday test since our test at 92 hours, which is 3 days, we were pretty close to being out of ice. So I'm gonna think that we're either right at or out of ice. So I wanna check it now and see. I thought I'd give you a better view of how the cooler has been sitting in. I keep it balanced here. So that's the pergola's covering it, and that was Lexi. Here's a cooler, so it's partially covered. Let's go ahead and get our tests here. The outside is 90. That can't be right because it showed 106. Let's try one more time. $104, which I'm having a hard time believing that. Let's open her up. Sorry for the quick one. Look at that, we got a little bit. The lid is 54. Back wall is 52, and we've got minimal ice. I don't know if y'all want to call it a, you know what, actually, let's call it, because at that point, it might make it at the end of the day. We'll check it and see. If it does, you know what, then I won't see this portion and I'll redo it. But overall, I mean, I think the cooler, since it is advertised up to 7 days with ice retention, maybe in a cooler climate, or you know, in cold weather, winter months, that might work. But for what I normally use it for or need it for would be, you know, 3 or 4 days if we're going camping or hunting, and obviously it's going to cover what I need. I'm good with that, so I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. Overall, I like the way the cooler looks. The handles are comfortable. It's got a bottle opener, great handles to unlock or open and close the lid. Easy to clean. So yeah, I definitely give it 2 thumbs up. I've enjoyed it so far, and yeah. So if you're looking at a cooler, I would recommend this one. Until the next video or next test, we'll see you then.